Good evening and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 3. In front of you is the map as it stands, our mountain range and coastal desert, surrounded on all sides by threats and potential enemies. Though, at the moment, things are improving with Telaqua, so we may not have to worry about them. The Oracles of Tzeentch, combined with the forces of the Cult of Sigmar, and those of the Leonists, have pushed Khemri and Settra the Imperishable to the brink of extinction. This is both advantageous and problematic, because this territory is territory we need to own for our victory, so it being owned by enemies means we can make a better shot at controlling it. However, it does mean that we are going to be fighting against lots of armies for this with no allies if we cannot resurrect Khemri. And right now, the plan is to try and save Khemri. But we have problems of our own. On the southern borders, Cloxizaz, the Truth Teller, is besieging Karak Zorn. While Karak Zorn does have walls and a not inconsequential garrison, it will not hold on its own. So King Jenna has been moved from Karag Orud in an attempt to marshal some reinforcements. Over here, King Futep has moved from his recruiting in Lamia, having finished training his troops, and has an impressive army consisting of Hyra Titans, Ushabti, Sepulchral Stalkers, Tomb Guard, and archers. His army here is the closest one we have to Qatar, along with Khalida, and they are both going to race down and try and get there. Rakash is going to be defending Death Gorge while he finishes the training of his two Khemrian War Sphinxes and a Tomb Guard. That is where we find ourselves. That is the state of play at present. King Petit, or whatever he's called, is going to stay and guard this city because his army's pretty crap anyway. And we are going to try and save Settra the Imperishable. I'm not sure how that'll go. I've already done most of my movement for this turn. But it looks like I did forget to move Khalida, so let's march Khalida down into this desert, which is currently suffering very heavily from chaos corruption, but time is of the essence. We must reach Qatar before it is taken. And I'm just hoping that Qatar, with our garrison, will be able to hold out another turn. Let's find out how that goes. I'll see you guys on the other side. Khemri have performed the great incantation of Kassar. This will cause attrition to any of the armies in their lands, and it does seem to me that it has succeeded in dissuading any further efforts to take territory around Qatar. I'm going to move Khalida in. We'll switch her next turn to... I'm going to move Khalida in. We'll switch her next turn to a stance which avoids attrition, but as you can see, it's fairly minimal what she is taking currently. We're going to move Futep down into the desert so that we have some other armies. We're going to need them. And we're going to keep force marching King Jenna through the mountains in the hopes that he can at least get into reinforcement range next turn before Tzeentch makes any effort to defeat us. Let's actually see. It says decisive. What's he got? A bunch of pink horrors, some flamers. Yeah, the garrison on its own stands no chance, and I would really rather not lose this fortress. I'm kind of annoyed with myself because I've been meaning to put walls there forever, and I just haven't done it yet. So that's my bad. It would have been a lot easier had I done what I intended to do. Now, with Futep on the march, that means we have 2 turns remaining on Rakash's recruitment before he heads down. to aggro Migdal. The plan is to have Rakash push here, Putep and Khalida push here, and hopefully by the time that that has happened, we will have consolidated a good channel of territory. I'm thinking I'll leave these two settlements raised, because if I take them, I will then have to worry about being in the blood grounds of Morgul. Is it Morgul or Malagor? It's one of the Beastmen Lords. I forget their name. Very similar. And it looks like we will lose this settlement to the forces of Cloxizaz, the Truth Teller. It seems to think it will be close. I don't think we can win it. I'm gonna take the valiant defeat. Oh, and that was the worst possible outcome. They sacked the city. Razed the city. Khemri, what do you want? You want me to join war against them? No. They're gonna declare war on me very soon anyway, so I'll try and keep the few turns of peace I have left. With that settlement having been raised, Jenna no longer has anywhere to reinforce. So, we are going to garrison him in the Lost Plateau. And we will make a play for Carrickzorn rather shortly. But I am going to start thinking about putting some slightly stronger things into his army. So, we'll get rid of a unit of spearmen. We'll get the flock of Jaff. And then spending some of our money, we will perform this rite. And that will allow us to give him a casket of souls. This will, at very least, improve his army pretty substantially. And it looks like we could actually, if we wanted to, grab some Kembrian war sphinxes from Settra. Which I'm looking at and I'm like, that's probably not actually a bad idea. But I don't think we'll do that to that army. I think we'll do it as a reinforcing measure. Now, the area around Khemri includes Numas and the Springs of Eternal Life. So what I'm going to do is we are going to march King Putep towards Numas. We're going to start marching... or not marching, we're going to start using Entombed Beneath the Sands to keep our attrition levels good as we start moving up towards the Cult of Sigmar. And we'll see what they do. If they push further into the mountains, we'll rally out and kill them. If they stay there, I might just accept the loss of the city, even though I don't want to. The dwarves would appear to want a peace treaty. I'm gonna say no. Well, I don't particularly want a war with the dwarves. I'm also not inclined to be friendly to them when they declared war on us only a few turns ago, as it was. Okay, I was a little bit worried we might get ambushed, but we have now retaken this province, which means we can declare a commandment. We are going to go for cost of buildings to make things a little bit cheaper, and we are going to keep Jenna here. With the garrison, he should be well able to hold on to territory. That is the hope. Now, can Khalida reach this settlement? It looks like she can. So, we are going to march on the Springs of Eternal Life. And we're going to take it. Nice decisive victory. Very basic garrison. And then we're going to occupy it. And we're going to have a look at what we can build. We can't build any walls, but we can start thinking about re-recruitment. So we're going to put a barracks in there. Over here, it looks like we can take Numas. But, Is it because I colonized already? It might be because I colonized somewhere else this turn, but that's a bit weird. Okay, not too worried about that though. We'll keep him there for now. And I believe that means that King Rakash is ready. So on his newly acquired War Sphinx, he is going to prance towards the battlefield in all of his dignified glory. We are going to move him out of Entombed so he gets a little bit further. Because the last thing I want is for Skarbrand to show up with a Mahusiv army. It's Malagor that spawns down here, okay. Yeah, I don't want them coming out with a Mahusiv army and beating the crap out of us. Now, I don't know how long Settra is dead for. Which means I'm not sure how long we've got until things become problematic. So, we'll have to wait and see on that one. In the last turn, it appears that Kairos has gone to war with the Cult of Sigmar. I don't know how recently that happens, but that explains why the Cult of Sigmar is so easily ceding this territory up here. In that case, let's move him deeper towards Khemri. And while our enemies are fighting each other, not our allies, we actually have the ability to do quite some damage. You see they're moving away from Khemri here. I think that the best thing we can do is get Rakash further down the coastline here, sacking and taking the fight to Khorne. And then have Khalida sweep in, I guess this would be southeast, and take Kasabah. I would love a dramatic fight, but this isn't one. So we are just going to occupy that. Got a few new items there. And right now I'm feeling pretty good about our position. Can we recruit a Loverlord? No, we're at 5 out of 5 armies. What about the Mortuary Cult? Do we have enough money to awaken a new army? 10,800 Canopic Husk. No, we do not. Okay. Taking a quick look at our settlements. We're just going to keep upgrading any infrastructure that we can. Doesn't look like we can do all that much right now. Gonna go for the weapon strength for Tomb Guard and Hydra Titan units as our next research, and then I'm going to have a look at the diplomacy tree at Khemri.
Marvel at my pyramid. Know that you will never achieve such majesty.
They're very friendly, but they don't like treaties with Talakwa. Okay. Do I not have a confederate option? I guess not. I was looking for a confederate, but that doesn't look like it's going to be the case. So we are going to look at the desert. That is where the most action is happening, and we are going to see how our enemies respond to our plays this turn. Interestingly enough, it looks like Volkmar wasn't nearly as concerned with defending his home territory as I expected him to be. And he has, in fact, marched forces back towards the Springs of Eternal Life. It's quite a formidable Tier 1 force, really, but only because of the amount of sticks it can throw at us. Volkmar being level 20 does mean he might pose a problem, but I'm sure Khalida can deal with him. Alright, I think we're going to fight this one. Khemri stands. in the enemy's control. The ancestral city of the Tomb Kings, our capital of Nehekara. But not for long. King Futep of the Third Dynasty will reclaim it, and with it the glory of our former empire. Okay, so the way we've got this set up, we have two groups that are going to assault the walls on one side with reinforcements, mainly infantry, and they're going to have King Futep with them. And over here, we have Hydra Titans. Some of the most imposing looking units in the Tomb King arsenal. And they, with the Ushabti and the assistance of the archers, are going to break their way in on this side of the settlement in an attempt to split the enemy forces. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the Ushabti bows, but I'm going to move them over here now to reinforce this. Because there's a lot of forces right now that are just sitting outside the settlement and waiting. However, my main focus is just to enjoy the spectacle of the giant Hydra Titans with their scales striding towards the gate, tripping over a few poorly placed Ushabti. The impact. Oh, very exciting. However, I don't have the time right now to enjoy this because the ladders are docking on the walls at the other entry point. Which means that our ghostly legion of Nehekara warriors is coming up over the walls. Quite excited to see these boys in action, really. Haven't done that yet. So we're going to start fielding them into the halberdiers, which are going to be fighting the other halberdiers. We're going to get Rakash in range. And hopefully in a moment, with the gate going down as quickly as it is, we will be able to force our way into the settlement. Over here, you can see, even though they've been there less time, I mean, they're kind of doing the do-si-do right now, but when they do attack the gate, it takes about 700-800 damage, which is pretty nice. I'm going to get the archers to start shooting up and over, because otherwise they're not softening the troops up well enough. Well, although I suspect... Oof, the camera does not like that terrain piece very much. And although I suspect we would be fine, you know, I don't want to give the enemy any chance to cause us any more hassle than is strictly speaking necessary. Now that we're in through the walls, we can begin forcing this force back. We have cavalry and whatnot ready to come through, but I am going to hold them in reserve right now because I think they're getting stuck at one another. Let me pull one back. There we go. Alright, we're now going to start flooding the Ushabti and the Hydra Titans in, while the arrows continue to rain down from above. This shouldn't be a complicated fight. We outman the enemy by a considerable margin. But Varda, you ask, why are we fighting this? And the answer is because although it's just a garrison, this is the ancestral city of Settra the Imperishable. It's a very important city to the Tomb Kings. And, you know, I wanted to get a good look at it. Because while the easier fight is going on, we can have a look at some of the more stunning visuals that these cities get when they're very important. Like, look at this. This is just absolutely gorgeous. This little dip into the valley with the Tomb Kings. Oh, splendid stuff. Splendid, splendid stuff. Got the little floating pyramid over there. You can see our armies clashing. Tomb Scorpions of various sizes near the pyramids. Oh, just superb. And over here, wading through the mass of enemy forces are our Ushabti and our Hydra Titans. This massacre will continue, I am sure, for quite some time. Oh, I love that shot. Look at the arrows just coming in over the walls, falling down on the enemies of a Saf's Chosen. Lovely stuff. The camera is, of course, just kind of derping out right now. And it looks like some of our Stalkers are taking quite a bit of damage because of the Gunners. They're getting very heavily fired into right now. We don't have a Necrotect in this army, so they can't be repaired. I'm really hoping we don't lose them. They are rallying, so they're not crumbling, which is good. And now we'll just sort of bring the cavalry into the city in the hopes that it will be able to chase some of these down. But I think the battle may already be over. And just to make sure, let's Spirit Leech. Because they have found spells. Spirit Leech looks so good with the undead faction, just like the giant spectral arm. And with that, Khemri is returned to its rightful owner's hands. And with that, Khemri has been claimed. And it's a tier 3 settlement already, so we can start getting lots of good buildings here. We can get the Tomb Scorpion building. We can... we could even get the Great Pyramid of Settra if we had a little bit more money. So we'll probably save up for that. Give ourselves some extra Tomb Guard capacity. Now, because we've managed to take this area here, I am wondering if we move Jenna down to Kasabar. But I'm worried if we leave Karak Zorn, we are just going to struggle. So we're not going to do that for now. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to have a good giggle at Gafia running away from us. Have Rakash roll over Agrul Migdal. Maybe I should have raised it. Yeah, we're going to raise it. It's not useful to us, really. Or is this the Herdstone? Oh, Sunken Kemark is the Herdstone. Okay, we'll hold it. We'll take out Sunken Kemark when we have a chance, I think. The desert is beginning to come more and more under Tomb King control, but... Oh, so that's why we couldn't take it. Defiled Bloodgrounds. We will have to take out Sunken Kamark in order to do the territory. Okay, that's good to know. Nice. I forgot about that. That's a new Beastman thing. Good to know. Taking a brief scan of our territory, we can see that Settra the Imperishable has returned to lead his armies. Volkmar appears to be ignoring Khalida for now, and is moving back to his own territories while Kairos moves in. How does Khemri have Sudenburg? Yeah? Did Kairos play a game, or have I just been missing that? Because I know Kairos can give people control. Rakash's army is going to get distracted. And it is going to go to Kemark and begin to put some pressure down there. I would love to send my armies out into the open to fight Volkmar. But I don't think we can take on 2 of them at once with no reinforcements, so... yeah, that's, tricky. Tricky. I guess we'll upgrade that because I need to wait some time for provincial growth. Karakzorn is upgrading, and we can see that this army here, another army belonging to Kairos, has begun to push forward toward our territory. It's gonna be an interesting one, but I don't think I want to move any more of our pieces this turn. Kairos himself marches on Kasaba. Looks like he's going to occupy it. Which means that we now have the problem of being split. Rakash is up north. Skarbrand will be back soon, I would imagine. The Chevalier have declared war on me. We're gonna let it dry out. That was a river. It was basically a choice between get some extra trade or lose Canopic Jars or don't. I chose not to. Volkmar has been discovered in ambush mode next to Dietz Image Shielder. I mean, I hope that he can get some of these armies up and running soon, because I really need Khemri's help to keep pushing them back here. And we have just seen that Skarbrand is in fact back in play. Yeah, let's fight this one. I haven't fought any Beastmen, I don't think, properly yet in this series. Okay, I've gone for a pretty straightforward setup. We have the Khemrian War Sphinxes and the Tomb Sphinxes on one side. I'm kind of lining my troops up, which I'm not a big fan of, but we are going to fix that in just a moment. This is quite a narrow map, so... we are going to, like, spread some of our infantry out here. It looks like they're coming to be aggressive to us, which is sort of interesting. I'm trying to spread out the infantry a bit, just so that they don't take any massive damage from spells like Flock of Doom. Get the archers spread out as well. Got the Ushabti ready to reinforce any of these positions. And we do have the Khemrian War Sphinx about to engage a group of Centaurs. It does appear that it's not going to win this fight on its own, so I am going to pull the Khemrian War Sphinx back. It did get a little ahead of the army. Well, it might win the fight on its own, but if it gets isolated next to any of the archers or the extra herds, it's going to really struggle. So the plan right now is to pull it out of combat just momentarily. We kept the Ushabti here, so we can pull the archers back. The archers are now beginning to shoot the Sepulchral Stalkers as well. The Khemrian War Sphinx over here is still a little bit bogged down, but we do have reinforcements ready to help it out. I'm going to start throwing the Skeleton Warriors and the Tomb Guard forward to catch. I am going to leave a small gap in the middle, hopefully, so that the archers can shoot at it. I'm going to pull these forward here as well, towards the edge of the map. And just have the Sphinx go happy playtime, I think is the technical term. You can see that we did get hit by some kind of a spell there that did quite a lot of damage to our warriors. I'm not a big fan of that. So let's see if we can find the leader. There he is, the Bray Shaman. Let's get an overcasted Spirit Leech onto him, and let's get the Sepulchral Stalkers targeting him as well. The Camarine War Sphinx needs to get back into combat so it stops getting shot the shit out of. And we'll pull Rakash in from the back line, and this is when we just start putting everything forwards. All of those nice non-blobby lines becoming a good old blob. We're going to weaken everything in this fight over here because we're deploying our Lord into the other one. Looks like we might lose some Skeleton Spearmen to consistent casts on a singular unit, but I'm okay losing some Skeletons. They're not that hard to replace. The Centaurs are beginning to rout. Our infantry line is holding here. It looks like the Cambrian War Sphinx, unless ordered otherwise, will shoot as its default, which is interesting. I wonder if that's the main difference between it and, say, the Necrosphinx. I haven't really gotten to this point in a Tomb King's campaign in Total War 3. I did do a max level one once, I think, before as Settra in Total War 2, but that was a long time ago. Alright, the garrison has been defeated. The Beastmen have given up their blood grounds. And with that, Sunken Kermark has been, Kernark even, has been razed to the ground. And with that, we did complete a quest. That was good. I'm happy with that. And we are going to begin... I think we're going to... Oh, we can't because we raised it. Okay, we can't force march, so we're just going to accept the extra replenishment we get from there. And we're going to call it an episode. We have taken some territory in the desert. Kairos lies on one flank and Volkmar the other. Our allies in Khemri are rebuilding their armies. Find out how it plays out next time. Bye-bye.